Hello dear students, we will start with the further part of the lesson, the Summit Within by Major HPS Ahulwalia. Now we will start with the today's class. Once having granted this question remains, why Everest? Because it is the highest, the mightiest and has defied many previous attempts. It takes the last ounce of one's energy. It is brutal struggle with rock and ice. Once taken up, it cannot be given up halfway, even when one's life is at stake. The passage back is as difficult as the passage onwards. And then, when the summit is climbed, there is the exhilaration. The joy of having done something, the sense of a battle found and won. There is a feeling of victory and of happiness. Glimpsing a peak in the distance, I get transported to another world. I experience a change within myself which can only be called mystical. But its beauty, aloofness, might, ruggedness, and the difficulties encountered on the way, the peak draws me to it, as Everest did. It is a challenge that is difficult to resist. Hence, once having found out why to climb mountains, the question comes, why Everest only? Okay, probably because it's the highest in the world and has resisted many attempts of people trying to climb it. To reach the summit of Everest, it asks for every bit of energy in one's body. It is a harsh struggling with ice and huge rocks. Once you have taken this hard challenge, there is no option for you to give up midway, even if life is at stake, because the passage backwards poses the same difficulties and challenges as the passage upwards. When finally, after overcoming all these obstacles, one reaches the summit, there are feelings of accomplishment, excitement, joy, victory and happiness. There is a feeling of having fought a battle and won. The author mentions how looking at another peak transported him to another world. He experienced a change within himself, which can only be called mystical. The peak attracted the author to itself with the help of its greatness, beauty, serenity and the difficulties it poses on the way. He says it was a challenge difficult to resist. Okay, we'll go to new paragraph. Looking back, I find that I have not yet fully explained why I climbed Everest. It is like answering a question, why you breathe? Why do you help your neighbor? Why do you want to do good acts? There is no final answer possible. And then there is a fact that Everest is not just a physical climb. The man who has been to mountain top becomes conscious in a special manner of his own smallness in his large universe. Okay. The author looks back and discovers that he had not yet revealed why he actually climbed Everest. He compares it by asking a question as to why one breathes or why one helps their neighbor or why one does a good deed. It is impossible to find an answer to these questions. He also mentions the fact that Everest is not just a physical climb, but it changes the person in a way that makes him aware how small he and his problems are in this infinite universe. Okay, the physical conquest of a mountain is only one part of the achievement. there is more to it than that. It is followed by a sense of fulfillment. There is the satisfaction of a deep urge to rise above one's surroundings. It is the eternal love for adventure in man. The experience is not merely physical, it is emotional, it is spiritual. So here conquest means conquering, okay, acquiring. So what does the author is telling here? The overcoming of physical barriers is only one bit of the accomplishment. There is a lot more to it, like the sense of accomplishment, the satisfying urge to rise above the current circumstances. It is the never-ending desire for adventure in the person. So the experience is not just physical but emotional and spiritual too. Considering a typical climb towards the summit on the last heights, you are sharing a rope with another climber. You form in, he cuts the steps in the hard dice, then he belays and you inch your way up. The climb is grim. You strain every nerve as you take every step. Famous climbers have left records of the help given by others. They have also recorded how they needed just that help, else they might have given up. Breathing is difficult. You curse yourself for having let yourself in for this. You wonder why you ever undertook the ascent. There are moments when you feel like going back. It would be sheer relief to go down instead of up. But almost at once you snap out that mood, there is something in you that does not let you give up the struggle. And you go on. Your companion keeps up with you just another 50 feet or 100 maybe. You ask yourself, is there no end? You look at your companion and he looks at you. You draw inspiration from each other, and then, without first being aware of it, you are at the summit. Here belays means fixes a rope. He begins evaluating a usual climb to a summit where you are sharing the rope with another climber. As you make yourself firm, he moves ahead as he carves the hard ice with his feet only to further fix the rope to help you inch your way up. It is a difficult climb that puts pressure on every nerve as you take a step forward. As you go on climbing the hill or the mountain, you put a pressure on your nerve. He mentions how it has been recorded by some famous climbers for having taken help from others and how it was the only thing they needed at that moment to move forward. Else, they would have given up. It is indeed very difficult to breathe at such high altitudes and cold temperatures. And the author tells that it is so hard that you curse yourself for signing up for this, and you start questioning why you undertook it at all in the first place. It pushes you to give up, and the idea of going back looks relieving at that moment. Then almost instantly you are out of that mood. You feel something in yourself that does not let you give up and you move on. Your companion is always there with you. As you climb and look at the distance left, you feel as if there is no end. You and your companion both look at each other in search of motivation, and then suddenly Without even realizing it at first, you are already at the summit or the peak of the mountain. Okay, moving to next paragraph. Looking round from the summit, you tell yourself that it was worthwhile. Other silvery peaks appear through the clouds. If you are lucky, the sun may be on them. The surrounding peaks look like a jeweled necklace around the neck of your summit. Below, you see vast valleys sloping into the distance. It is an ennobling, enriching experience to just look down from the summit of a mountain. You bow down and make your obeisance to whichever god you worship. Obeisance means differential respect. Okay, so what the author is telling here, as you look around once you reach the summit, you tell yourself that it was worth all the struggle and hardships. You can see other peaks through the clouds, and if you are fortunate enough, there may be sunlight on them. The peaks nearby look as a jeweled necklace around the neck of your summit. As you look down, you can look at the vast valleys from a distance. To look down from the summit of a mountain is an honorable and enhancing experience. As you are on the top of a mountain, you bow down and pay your respects to whichever god you worship. Okay. Hope you have understood the story till today. We will continue the further part of the lesson in the next class. Have a nice day. Thank you for listening.